management. And we are taking this as a short course, but also this course will actually be on like a credit basis for those who are taking degree programs. So without further ado, I would like to invite everyone to participate actively. So today we will be slightly ending before time because I'm teaching you from the working office, the work press. So I would have to actually drive home to actually meet the curfew hours, COVID-19. So it's likely that we'll end, let's say, 7:30 or 7:45, depending on where we are in this program, so that everyone who is not like learning from home can, like me, go and have time to meet the curfew hours, especially those in those areas where we have the curfew hours set. So thank you so much. I would like to greet everyone. Good evening.
Good evening, Prof.
Good evening. So maybe before we dive into today's program, I would like to, I see people who were here yesterday, like Dan, Friday, even our VC. So everyone who is here was also here yesterday. I've checked the attendance, and I see all the names are familiar. And I would like to actually like invite some volunteers to take us through or give us just 1 minute recap of what we have shared yesterday together. Thank you so much. The floor is yours, and then we dive into today's content. Hello? Hello, everyone. We are 12 people, so I expect everyone to be participating. So I would like to actually have some volunteers who can take us through just what you learned, actually what remained from everything that we learned. It's not really taking us through everything, maybe something that remained in your mind from yesterday's class.
Okay, can I try with what remained in Miriam's brain here?
Yes, Miriam, you can.
Yesterday we learned the course is management, the management of finance, management of resources, management of materials, or management of people. And we have realized that most of us are managing people, and the interest of everyone in class was on how to manage organizations, so manage people, manage human resources. And what I have learned that really stayed with me, that I have discovered for the first time interested in, is the difference in terms of management of the positions that people hold in a company. We have the managers, we have the senior managers, the junior staff, and we do have the board of directors. And for me, I did not know that the board of directors and the owners are the people that really do the admin. For me, I thought administration is done by the other ones. But then now I realized they have an administrative position. They design the policies, and then the other ones, they just execute. And when I say the other ones, what are they called? The board of directors and the chief executive officers are the ones who are executing, but then the board of directors are composed of the owners. That I did not know. I really thought that board of directors are people who have got nothing to do with the company, but they are just advisors. So That is how little knowledge I had. And I appreciated that difference, to know some admin who do the roles, and then the ones that are doing the executive execution of the policies and the vision, they execute the mission statement. And that is the most important people in the company. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miriam. Really, it's not even what remained. It's a recap of everything that, maybe to sum up everything that we had learned yesterday. And I would like everyone to give you a round of applause for that hard job of actually remembering everything, quite everything that we talked about, because that's the core. So let's give Miriam a round of applause. Thank you so much. So we have actually seen the definition of management, what management is, and then we have seen also like the various areas of management, but also we have seen the difference between as you may know, what we call art is composed of the personal skills that we have, and it's also embodying the practical know-how, but also the way we apply that knowledge that we have. Is that orientation, but there is some in arts, what we call creativity. And when you so you are there, and then there are people who have various knowledge and various skills, and you have to coordinate that in order to achieve the goals, to achieve the aims. Okay. Another thing, as you have seen above, in the element of an art, there is something that looks at like practical side. So, and management is an art because it seeks to achieve concrete practical results. If you say, I've managed this and this and this means like, okay, I managed to raise 5 million Rwanda francs. So this means like the 5 million Rwanda francs is the result. You see? So it's something like a concrete practical thing that you have achieved by managing. It's not, I'm sitting here, I'm a manager, that's all. No, that's not the role of management. So management is always looking at the end goal. What are the results that I have actually achieved? So management is therefore an art because it seeks to achieve concrete practical results. So another thing is that management is creative. I said about creativity as one of the main elements of an art. So management is creative because it brings out the new situation and converts into output. It's like as a manager, you have to twist your mind, like try to see the new way of doing things to achieve better results. That's creativity. Because if you keep doing things the way you were doing them before or yesterday or before yesterday, you keep having the same results. So creativity is required so that you can actually reach new heights, so that you can arrive at better results, so that you can improve. So as a manager, that's your Lord, because you have only the vision. You have only something that the boss or this administration people, they told you, okay, this is what we want to see. But they didn't tell you the way to get there, because that's your Lord. If they tell you as well the way to get there, then they are preventing you from thinking and being creative. And then they are also responsible of the outcome of, like, because they have not given you the time to think, the time to be creative. So if you have a business here, remember, as the owner, you are the one who set the vision. If you recruit managers, then you have to think that they are coming with their brains and they have to work. They have to use their brain to be creative and to actually see various ways, various like methods that they can use to reach and even go beyond the goals that you communicated, the vision that you communicated to them. So I like to actually say some of the funny things in the workplace, where you find that some of the companies or some of the organizations, it's like the bosses, they have thought about everything and the way to do them. And you bring a bunch of people, you pay them highly, and they are called managers, but you prevent them from thinking. It's like leave your brain outside. So when you go to work in a company, it's your first day, and you find a signage on the door saying, like, leave your brain outside. How do you feel? So that would be very, very, very disturbing, I think. So creativity is very important. That's the reason why I'm trying to emphasize it, because people come with their minds, with their ideas, and they have several reasons to actually create solutions and reach to a very specific destination you have communicated to them that they have to reach in a specific period. So effective management lead to realization of organizational and other goals. There are organizational goals, but there are also other goals, including also individual goals. Remember, as a business owner, as the leader, the admin person of the organization, of a church, of anything, if you are trying to hire managers, also think that they have their personal goals, their personal career goals. Like common wisdom says that, like, if you help people to get what they want, they will help you to get what you want. That's obvious. Therefore, if you know that your managers have also other goals, their personal goals, you better help them to achieve also their personal goals, and they will help you. I can bet they will help you to reach your organizational goals as well. That's the reason why here we say management lead to the realization of organizational and other goals. So, but it's not something that is rocket science. It's something that is easy as well. The mastery in management requires a sufficiently long period of experience in managing. This means like, okay, as you go, you learn from the best practices that you have seen, the things that have worked and those that haven't worked, and you are adapting constantly, creating the changes that can bring the success into what you are doing, into the management style that you are applying, or the things that you are trying to achieve. So, as you get that experience, you will develop into a good manager, but this requires to be teachable. To be teachable, because some of the managers, they think they know everything. So, like this, they are not teachable, and they think that what they just thought about is the only way of doing things or the better way of doing things. So, it requires every manager to be teachable, to learn from others as well. So before I move from this page, if you have any questions, please. Any questions? Any inputs? Any intervention?
Prof,
Yes, yes.
thank you. How can one approach for managers who doesn't want to learn new skills? For now, we are in the COVID-19. So many companies are working on 30–40% of employees in the workplace. It's a matter of people working from home. And this has crippled so many businesses, not because they don't have financial muscle to make a difference, because managers don't want to change and learn new things, because there are things which we need to learn as new things, others we need to delete from our mind, because working from home is a new norm. Like now we are attending the seminar in the on the virtual. It is a new thing which is there, but managers, they don't want to learn new things. How can one approach that and solve that? Thank you.
Thank you so much. You know, I can say that for some of you, you know what we call like the curve of change. You see, like every time there is a change, change is very hard. For sure, I acknowledge that change is very hard, and there are those people who had a routine of doing something, and um, when something comes, now they don't want to change. But if you remember about this curve of change, you start with the shock. So they might be in the shock phase. Then after the shock, there is this denial phase. That there is what we call denial. When they actually deny completely to actually embrace the change. And then there is a declining side of anger, then depression. Then there is where they start seeing that that is very necessary. Then they will start to experiment, like they experience that themselves, and then there will be a decision to adopt that, and there will be acceptance. So change itself will pass through all those steps. So like to actually, it's not like you change in a day and you actually see that it's possible. Maybe they are in their phase of denial, of denying to change. But you know, like here in Rwanda, when they find that maybe you have, when they say bars should be closing, and they find that you have bar, like people in your restaurant or bar like that, they fine you. So there are also fines. There are all those mechanisms. And they realize maybe that's not the way of doing the business. And yeah, by learning that hard way, people adapt change if they have not been able to actually embrace the change by the normal processes. So I say that managers are also human beings, and this process of change is human. So I would simply say that managers who are teachable, as I said, will relatively adapt to any change before everyone else. So while hiring, that's the reason why we have to probe very well, see the quality of the managers that we bring into the company, because that's the output that we will have. So if you see most of those managers who are resisting, that's because maybe somewhere in the hiring process, somewhere, and even it can be in the way the policies of those companies are, or the owners as well, because they are there themselves who communicate the way business should be. So I can't think of any manager who may be told, okay, our business closes on Sundays, and then said, boss, I would open every Sunday. So, you know, it's about also the person who's casting the vision, the person who is actually guiding that manager. Because as the owner, you might say, okay, as a manager, during this COVID-19, this is what we want to happen. We want that maybe you close at 6, or we want that you obey all the government rules, or we want that you obey the 30% workforce and try to actually get other work, like employees working from home. But also while they are working from home, the manager has to be creative to find ways of making them productive during the work from home time. So that's what I can say. I don't know if your question is answered, but there are several ways of looking at this. So I look at this personally as the process of change that might be very slow within an individual because of his understanding of the world and of the life situations. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. I'm happy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any inputs? Or we can move?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I want just to bring another contributions on the understanding of creativity, because creativity is one of the 4 elements of innovation. So the creativity is the capacity to discern the best idea among many ideas. So it is the first element of innovation. The other elements of innovation is strategy and action plan. The last one is profitability. So for creativity, normally managers have to be able to discern among many ideas what is really the best one to apply, so that when they have selected that best idea, they should apply their strategy that will allow them to subdivide into a concrete action plans, different activities to be implemented. And for innovative organizations or innovative managers, they have also to reach the highest profitability if they consider themselves as an organization compared to other organizations. So that's really very, very crucial. And for managers, on the question Ambassador Levy has raised, I remember 15 years ago, there was a leader who told us, if you do not change, that change will change you. It's just to complete Dr. Patrice. Normally the change most of the time it's not on our capacity to change it, but we have to develop in leadership what we call versatility steps. It means the mechanism of adapting our way of doing things, our way of reasoning, so that we may really have a clear alignment. So it's up to us to align ourselves. Even now, with, for example, these new technologies, there are no any way of learning unless we take advantages of those new technologies. So it's a mechanism of adaptation. So the leaders, the managers who are not really changing, most of the time they found themselves staying back. So even in self-capacity, even in self-development skills, we need to remain a continuous learners. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Like adding to what you were saying just right now, you can see many universities are closed, and it's because maybe they don't want to embrace online. You see? So the managers of those universities or those higher learning institutions or like whatever learning institution it might be, they will actually start to try that when what university will be graduating people, and then they will pass to another stage of accepting that. You see, so it's actually change is a funny thing that that like if you are not really have like you being versatile like Professor said, you will be left behind, seriously. Yeah.
No.
So I would say that it's good to have all these discussions and really have all this wisdom from everyone. So we have looked at management as an art. Let's look at management as a science. So as we did for art, we started by looking at the main element of an art. Now let's look at the main elements of science to evaluate if management is really a science. So the main element of a science, something can be called a science when there is a systematized body of knowledge. And beside that, there will be underlying principles and theories developed through continuous observation, inquiry, experimentation, and research. And then there is a developed universal truth and applicability. And there is an organization, an organized body of knowledge that can be taught and learned in classroom and outside. So if we look at all this, we can confirm that management is a social science. It contains all the essentials of science, and it is an inexact science. So we can look at some of these like finance, cost accounting, all of this. Like you have the body of knowledge, you do things like this or that. So they're like principles that you apply, and you know that like it's done like this. So there is an already developed body of knowledge that you are following. That's the reason why management is also a science, but it's not like the biology or chemistry, it's a social science. So thus the theory, which is the science, and the practice, which is the art that we have seen, go side by side for the efficient functioning of the organization. So when we have these theoretical things, like you should, as a manager, know the principles, know the theoretical, theoretical science, if I can say, the theoretical basis of management, but also like be on that practical side, that practice side, so that at least your organization can have efficient functioning. If you have, you actually say the practice, you are a practitioner, but you don't care about the theory, then you will not be using those like principles and body of knowledge of management. So you will like use the common sense maybe of creativity, whatever, but it will not be a coordinated intervention or coordinated way. So that's the reason why management is also a science, which falls in the category of social science. Any intervention here? So I will go forward and then we can discuss later. So the other thing that management is a profession. So the essential attributes of a profession, they include a well-defined and organized body of knowledge, learning and experience, entry restricted by qualification. So in order to do this, should you be qualified in management? So currently, yes, there are some organizations that require qualified managers, like those who have studied management and know these principles of management. So management as a profession requires a recognized national body. Then there is an ethical code of conduct, and there is a dominance service motive. So management here, we can say that it is not a full-fledged profession now due to some reasons, but it's a profession because you can see some of the things that are now coming, like the entry restricted by qualification in some areas. Some organizations are requiring that people should have studied management when they go into management positions. So there is a well-defined body of knowledge that is over there. So we have started having some bodies, like in Rwanda, we have like management consultants body, let's say, for example, which is recognized right now. In other countries, we have also other similar bodies or structures. But we can even say, okay, the Institute of Directors, the Institute of Managers, Professional Managers Associations around the world, in all the countries, they have a way of actually having some kind of professional certifications that can certify that this one is a certified or chartered professional manager. So it has come, but like now it is not really fully fledged. It's something in the making, something that is still developing. Because of these following shortcomings, we have the skills that are not fully developed. So there are no conventional skills that you should have to say, okay, you should have this and this and this to be a manager, to be called a manager. We have seen people who have not studied management and they are good managers. They are hired in management roles. So this is one of the things. So no uniform method of entry into management roles. So I just talked about it. Some companies, they can just hire anyone who has studied other fields. We find like management being this kind of profession where you attain that level of being in the management role by only excelling at what you do best. Let's say if you are a good laboratory scientist, you can be put in the position of managing a national biomedical center or whatever. So if you are a good engineer, you can find yourself on the top or management role of an engineering company or a construction company or whatever like that. So this is wrong, because as we develop management as a profession, it should be these people, managers, who have studied management. So management is also cross-cutting somehow, given what I said, because when you go into a management position, like being not being someone who has studied management, some of the people will truly excel. They will truly do their best and succeed. So that's the reason why most of the time we will say that there is no uniform method of entry. We can also say that the objective of going to the management role, most of this is monetary rather than the service. So here we would argue, but at the workplace, in the workplace, we all talk about promotion. So when will I be promoted? We're like, being promoted, why? And like, why do you really care about promotion? It's because your paycheck will increase when you go into a management position. So there is an ethical code that is not strict. So management has that some common ethical code reference, but it's not so strict. So the associations that I talked about, most of these national or international associations of managers, they are not really statutory bodies. So they are like independent bodies, but they are not really endorsed, or they have not been created by their respective countries. So you can say that management as a profession is something that is being fully developed right now, but there are some elements that it has attained to actually be a profession as well. So we can say about some management skills that are required. As a manager, you will require what we call conceptual skills. Conceptual skills. And you will require human skills. You will require what we call technical skills. And you require design skills. And finally, these design skills are really about decision making. If we begin by the first one, the conceptual skills, they are the abilities that would allow like the individual to understand or to manage complex situation, and they develop creative solutions. So as a manager, you are expected to actually manage, like to be the focal person of reference, the one that people come to when they have complex situations in the workplace, things that they cannot handle. So you are the one that they bring them to. So you are expected to have or to develop creative solutions that can solve those problems. So I can say that these conceptual skills from a management perspective, they are valuable because those who have them can approach complicated workplace situations in a variety of ways. So these skills are very important, and you can relate and say, okay, this manager, maybe they know a lot, they can really have what we call critical thinking, and others that you will see they don't have, and you will see them failing to cope with some of the difficult situation than an experienced manager who has these skills. So the second one is human skills. The human skills are the skills that we always use to relate to one another. if you are a manager and you possess or you have these strong human skills, so like you will be able to engage your people, the audience, potential customers. So all of these people, it's how like people, we can call them people skills. So you are able to cope, to manage people, and to actually handle problem in the workplace that can arise because of misunderstandings. You are able to manage the audience, all of that. So another type of skill that you see there are these that we call technical skills. Technical skills, they are very important. Like, let's say you have specific tasks to perform. Let's say, okay, painting a chair or whatever, or making something. So managers of those specialized industries, they should be able to know what's happening. So technical skills here that I'm talking about, they are these skills, and I can even call them abilities and knowledge needed to perform specific tasks. They are practical and often relate to mechanical or information technology, mathematical or scientific tasks. Like something technical, something tangible that you know about, that you can do. These are technical skills. So there is also what we call design skills. Design skills. Design skills. Design skills, we said that they are about decision making. Some of you have heard about what we call design thinking. So design thinking skills, like it's these skills that help you as a manager to take the decisions. Design thinking itself, it involved like 5 steps or 5 phases. The number 1 is called to empathize. It's like, okay, there is a customer who's coming, they need a chair or they need a doll or they have a specific problem, mental problem, they need some counseling. Then as someone who is going to deliver the service, you have to have this empathy. You have to put yourself in the shoes of that customer. That's number 1. Then you define the problem that they're having. So you ideate, you prototype, and you test the solution to tackle the problem that was ill-defined or unknown. So design thinking is the process. Design thinking is the skill. It's not the design or the drawing that we are talking about here. We are talking about design thinking. As a manager, you have to have design thinking. That's the reason why there is this thing that we call creativity that we have been talking about for so long. It comes under this as well. So why? Finally, why? Why do we need management? Why? What if we don't have management and we can work, all of us being productive, having no managers, everyone at the same level? No. Management is really and highly needed. One item is that it increases efficiency. So the second one is that it crystallizes the nature of management job. Then it helps in improving research in management as well. As here we are looking at management as a science, because as managers, as we continue to have managers, the profession of management profession will continue to increase and will continue to go up higher. So, and management is also there to attain social goals. You know, if we will be at the same level, no one will care about others. But if we have the coordination, they will know everyone, and then actually do collective decision making, even on social side, how we help each other in a company, how we get to work together to be happy or in the company. How do we rally ourselves around the same vision or mission to be more productive? So all of these things are what can explain the need for management or for managers. Especially I'm talking to those companies that really don't think that management is important. Yeah. So thank you so much for this. I would like to have also some intervention before we continue. The floor is yours. Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Okay, you mentioned that there are 5 steps under design skills, huh?
Design thinking, yeah.
Under design thinking, but you only mentioned, or I only heard to emphasize empathy. Is there? Can you?
Empathy. So it's like
Can you? No, I got that one. Can you mention the other 4?
the first one is called empathize. So you have to empathize. It's like a phases. It's not like the phase of applying design thinking. When you are applying design thinking of a specific thing, the first step is called empathize. You will empathize with the client, with the person you are with. Then you will define what is the specific thing, what is the specific issue. So you will define.
Okay.
So you define the specific issue after empathizing. Then you will ideate. You will, this one involves brainstorming about like specific solutions, like what could be the solution? Like several solutions. You don't actually lean on one, but you actually explore various options. You ideate. Hello?
I'm listening.
Yes. So ideate is number 3. Then number 4 is actually you take one of the, you prototype. You prototype the solutions. So you apply various ways, and then you prototype and see what can be the most
viable way.
Viable way, and then you test. So test is the final one. So the 5 steps will be empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test.
Okay. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you very much. So, any other interventions here?
Yes, I could maybe, okay, where I came a little bit late, and when I entered and I heard that you said that, okay, the various, what are they? Management, not the need of the management. I didn't hear the top part, but the professions of management, that is, people are now studying it as well. To become good managers or effective managers and so on. But in this that people have studied, one can also be aware of the fact that the person studied management does not make that person a good manager in the area that the person studied.
Yeah, that's true. We have looked at 3 areas. One is management as an art, and then management as a science, and the management as a profession. So it's not management alone. having studied civil engineering doesn't make you a good engineer. So that's the theoretical part of it, but you have to have the level of skilling, a level of practicality that is required. So that's the reason why we said that part of theory has to be like in concordance, like go hand in hand with the practical side. You remember when you talked about that? Hello?
Yes, sir, I'm listening. Yeah, you. Yes.
Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Okay. Some people studying management as a profession.
No, they study management as a science, but for it, yeah, they study management as science. When they study management as science, then they study management, the body of knowledge, the theory, the principles, all of that. But it's until it is applied and get to really have like this part of practicality that it becomes really a profession. You can actually be a professional manager. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Professor.
Thank you very much. So we have had Miriam talking about the levels of management, and I have got that for you. So the levels of management, we will have the top level management, where we have mostly the board of directors, and we have the managing directors, we have the owners, or we have the chief executives. And here, we will have some of the things that they are expected to do. First of all, this top level management involves to analyze, to evaluate, and to deal with environmental forces, like external forces, like they are the face of the institution to the outside. So they are answerable to establishing the overall long-term goals and broad policies of the company, including the master, the management of the budgets. This is understandable, of course, because money will be among the 4 M's of management, and then these ones, these top managers, this top level management, which goes, if you see the people, the level of people here, they intersect with what we have called administration. So that's the reason why you see the overall long-term goals, the broad policies of the company, including the master budget. It falls under their responsibilities. Then they are to appoint departmental and other key executives as well, and to represent the company to the outside world. I've just talked about it when I said that they are the face of the organization of the company to the outside world. So they are also there to coordinate the activities and efforts of different departments. So really, that's the top level management that I was talking about. So we have also what we call middle level management, where we have specific executives now. So these ones that are really concentrating on something specific, like sales, like production. So all of those they are managers, but at the mid-level, various, let's say, various executive or managers that are responsible of something specific. So they are there to interpret and explain policies framed by top management. They are there to compile and issue detailed instruction regarding the operations. So these ones are more technical in nature. If you see all these laws or this description of what they should be able to do. So they cooperate among themselves so as to integrate various parts of the division or the department. So the production must work with the sales so that if a client would order 50 pieces, they make sure that the production, the sales have maybe a client that has ordered 50 pieces. And then we have the production. They have to work together so that they know, okay, today you are producing 100 pieces or 50 pieces so that maybe our client can take them at 3 p.m. So all of these are this like coordination so that we can have a synergy toward reaching the aim of the company. So they are also there to motivate supervisory personnel to work for organizational goals. So they are the ones who push for the targets to be achieved. And they are there to develop and train supervisory and operative personnel. So we remember that yesterday we talked about a very crucial thing, which is developing others. So if you are a middle level manager or these people that we are talking about, you are able to train and develop the team, a competent team that will actually make the results happen. Because if you don't train them, maybe you will not achieve what you are set to do in that very specific timeline. Then we have supervisory, operating, or lower level management. So we have like superintendents, branch managers, general foremen. So all of these are also the first level of technicity that's required. So they plan day-to-day production with the goals laid down by the higher authority. They assign jobs to workers and make arrangements for their training and development. And they supervise and control workers to maintain personal contact with them. So this I'm actually seeing here this kind of first level, lower level management, where we have these people who are directly looking at like daily results, daily work that is done. So that is the levels of management for you. And you can see some complex organizations when they have like department, units. So at each level, they are managers, but these are broader levels that we can now talk about: the lower level management, the mid-level management, and then top management. So then when we see this researcher called Mintzberg, so he explained the role of a manager. And it's in three broader senses. One is interpersonal role, the second one is informational role, and the third one is decision role. So the first one is interpersonal role. As a manager, you are interacting with people inside and outside the organization. You should be the ambassador of that organization, and the image that you give, you will show out to the world is how they will take you. So I can see someone raising their hand. If you still have a question and want to actually speak, please.
I'm raising the hand just to clarify on different levels of managers. The previous slide.
Okay.
If you can go on the previous slide. Here we have what we call top level management and other low levels. So I want to come back to this top level management, particular to board of directors or even members of administrative body. Here we can understand this top-level management as also providing the strategic leadership, because here there is an issue to understand very well the strategic leadership and the strategic management, because those board members or board of directors, they are there, for example, to approve annual budget, strategic plans, so to recruit even the executive officer, and to validate different, for example, reports of external auditors, etc. So it's more strategic orientation than than management, because in non-profit, in profit organization, for example, the executive director is there to implement the strategic orientation of board of directors. So it's more strategic leadership than really management. So there is such idea to capture on strategic leadership that should not be confused with management. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If you can see this top level management, as I said when I was on this specific slide, it has merged the people in the top management and also administration, as we have seen later in the difference between administration and management. So these ones, because it is because they usually sit together. So some of these people, the board of directors, owners, whatever, they are, as Professor Jean-Baptiste said, they are really there for strategic leadership. Sometimes you don't see them even in the company every single day. They are there to actually see the broader sense of the overall direction, provide the overall direction of the company or the organization. So, but we also find the chief executives that were appointed by the later and the managing directors, whatever, they are these first top level, C-level managers. So they are constantly the ones who sit with the board of directors to actually embody the vision, their vision, what they are trying to achieve, discuss and approve. So I would say that this top level management, as Professor Jean-Baptiste said, it also includes strategic leadership. I want just to emphasize that. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I was on the roles of managers, according to Mintzberg. There is this interpersonal role, which deals with interacting with people inside and outside of the organization, where we see the manager being the figurehead as a symbolic head of an organization. The manager performs routine duties of regal nature. So when you are in that management role that requires you to be the symbolic head of the organization, you will perform routine duties of a regal nature. So who is defending the organization legally? It will be you, the person that the people will see every time they think of that organization. They will associate it to someone, to a specific name, to a specific representation. So that's what we call figurehead, leader. So you are there to hire, to train, to motivate, guide subordinates, the people who are under you. As we said, the role of managers is also to do what? To actually raise other leaders, to communicate the vision, to communicate and train those that will perform on the field. So this keeps coming because it's very important. to develop others. There are those who have subordinates and they try to get the results while they have not given them the appropriate package. They have not trained them. So this is not leadership. So as a leader, you'll be able to hire, to train, to motivate, to guide the subordinates. And you will be a liaison, interacting with other managers outside the organization to obtain favors and information. So what information do you want to know in your organization that is held by another maybe counterpart or another partner? So then you will be the manager going to interact with other managers outside of the organization to have that information or to have some specific favors on behalf of your organization. So there is also what we call informational role. Informational role, it's like serving as a focal point for exchange of information. So number one on this is to monitor. You seek and receive information concerning internal and external events so as to gain understanding of the organization and its environment. So, like you are in an organization, let's say, for example, if it were university, as the manager, the top managers, they should seek and receive the information concerning internal and external events. Maybe today universities were ordered to have their online platforms, let's say, for example. So then these ones, they are there to seek that information, they receive that, and like know that environment of the organization as well. So second one is dissemination. They are disseminators. The information they have received above, they have to transmit it to their subordinates. It's not the task of the subordinate to actually know. They can know that, but until you as the top manager or the line manager will communicate that officially, that information will not be official from the lower level manager. So as the manager, you have to transmit the information to subordinate, peers, and superiors within the organization. So there is also a lot of a spokesperson speaking on behalf of the organization and transmitting the information on all organizational plans, policies, and action to outsiders. Hey, here remember that not all the levels of management will be able to officially speak on behalf of the organization. But when we are talking about speaking, remain aware of the type of speech. There is also this way of speaking without really putting out words. So your actions and how you behave transmit the image of your organization as an employee or as a manager. So to me, that also includes this one. So you have to know the values of your organization. You have to know the do's and don'ts, the organizational culture, because everyone who sees you with that t-shirt, everyone who sees you with that business card will associate your behavior or will associate the way you talk, the things that you do with the organization, and it can kill or save the image of the organization. The managers, finally, they have a decisional role. Like they make important decisions. And we see them being entrepreneurs. Here, I don't say entrepreneur as such. I want to mean intrapreneur. So it's that you have come to the company and you came with your brain eventually. And coming with your brain means that you will think, you will engineer some new products, some way of doing things, new ways of doing things, and all that. You will be working for someone. So you are an intrapreneur. entrepreneur because you are actually creating concepts, creating new approaches that will generate money, but it's not your own organization, it's someone's organization. So you are an entrepreneur inside an organization. So you are also a disturbance handler, taking charge and collective action when organization faces unexpected crisis. So let's say someone has at least like here experienced this kind of thing, and you can all relate to the events, to what happened during that time. If you have experienced in the organization you were working with as a manager, if what happens if your company or your organization or your church, anything that you are managing faces down times, like it is having challenges, maybe you are handling a specific information that went out and is destroying your image. So as a manager, you will the one to take charge and to correct that action. Let's say maybe on the customer service side that your gate man, the person of the gate, like will be that person who is or has been that person who is sending away clients, telling them that it's not their, it's not a market, they should not come as they want, they should not really talk about this or that. So all that at the end of the day, though it has been done by the person on the gate opening for clients, but as a manager, you take charge and you see the collective action. Maybe you can say, okay, as a collective action, now we are replacing that person, or we are even associating like these corrective measures with some bonus to our customers, some kind of incentive to the customers, all of this. So these ones are in this like category of handling the disturbance. As a manager, you are also a resource allocator. So you distribute organizational resources like money, time, equipment, and labor accordingly so that you can reach the goals. Here, I will not speak too much about this because I know you all know that managers, even at department level, you have to do the requests of what your team needs if you are leading team, and make sure that the indicators of success for your team are being achieved. And as a manager, you'll be a negotiator. You will be representing the organization in bargaining and negotiation with outsiders and insiders. Here, I'm not talking really about high level negotiations. Even in the way we are now, without having a title in an organization, every one of us, every single day, practices negotiation. Every single day, you go to the market, you negotiate. You go to the office, you negotiate. You go everywhere. Our daily life involves the negotiation. So as the manager then, this is a skill that has to be advanced. So you should represent the organization in bargaining and negotiation with outsiders and insiders. So I will end today's class by the importance of management. One is that management is the dynamic life-giving element in every business. You know, an organization without proper management will eventually fail, no matter what amount of money they have in capital, no matter how many employees they have, how brilliant they have been, if they have been to Harvard or to other universities, big universities, they will definitely fail if they don't have a good management, because management is about coordination, making those skills, those talents be used at the maximum level. So without management, the resources of production remain resources and never become production. Sound management provides the following benefits. So these are the benefits that come with proper management. Number one, achievement of group goals. as a group, as an organization, we say that we want to reach this level. So management is the wing that helps to achieve group goals, shared goals. So there is optimal utilization of resources. So we have seen that managers are resource allocators, like money, like time, like equipment, like labor. So they are the ones who will know that every employee needs a machine, that every employee needs a pen, that every employee needs a tractor if it's agriculture. So the managers, they actually help to see how the resources can be optimally utilized. They also, the importance of management, the fulfillment of social obligation for employees, for the managers, for everyone in the organization as well. And finally, there is this economic growth, there is stability, there is human development, and they meet the challenge of change. These three ones, like economic growth, stability, human development, meeting the challenge of change. So all these are at the, even at the country level or bigger territory that we can look at. So without delaying, I would like to actually end here, because I said that I will end this class before, and tomorrow we'll begin by the classification of managerial functions. But today I'll give you an assignment of finding one organization and do a review of the management. And next evening, tomorrow, we will look at this and looking at this management level. Which management levels do they have? What law have you figured out that they are using? So all of this, you would do a practical evaluation of the management, that the management structure of these organizations. So each one will find just one organization. You can even find use your organization as a case study. And I'll give randomly the word to, let's say, 4 or 5 people to tell us, but also it's something that will be submitted and marked. Thank you so much. Over to you, Mr. CEO. If there is no intervention, but I can open a few minutes for the intervention, and then the CEO will take over.
Thank you. I think it's a dean who is really worth to be saying something here. Thank you. Yes, Dean, can you proceed? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, our facilitator, Dr. Patrice. Thank you for this facilitation. I want just to bring an additional comment on the management of resources. Among resources that are very hard to manage, we can say that human resources are key resources to handle diligently, because it's easy maybe to manage fixed assets or equipment, or to manage financial resources, but to manage human resources is really very, very fundamental, because they have to be managed strategically. And if we consider the historical evolution, we can find out that maybe in 18th century, it was more slavery period. In that case, human resources were considered as a production factor. and they didn't have even rights or any thing to claim. And it has been developed to the point where there were paternalism. So the assistance period, because the previous period was Taylorism period or scientific organization of the work. So the following step was paternalism or assistant period. The third one was the management, where we have to place someone based on his skills. The fourth one was participation, and currently we are in the period of strategic management of human resources, because they have their needs, they have their expectations, they have their wills, most of the time different of the needs or expectations of an organization. That's the reason why, while managing people, it's really crucial to think twice and try to meet also their needs, because they can be factors to achieve organizational goals, when they can also be hindrance of achieving organizational goals. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you so much, Professor Jean-Baptiste.
I think you
I
may.
don't know if you have actually heard about the assignment, but I expect that I would expect that you will work on that tomorrow, and then we'll start by sharing your personal experiences about the organization you worked on, and we can call this the end of today's lesson. And
hello. Hello.
Hello. Yes.
Please, I had a problem with network when you started talking about the assignment. If you can just repeat.
The assignment is, you will actually find an organization. It can be the organization that you are working with, or another organization that you can really access, and you will review their management. So you will tell us they have these levels of management, they have this kind of structure, so all of that we have learned, and you come and tell us, you present to us tomorrow.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Is there a limit in pages? How many pages we should have? 2, 3, 1?
You try to be brief, maybe 1 to 2 pages. That will be enough.
Okay, thank you, sir.
And should we submit in the group?
No. This, like, everyone has a story. Everyone has an experience that they can share. So that's the reason why I would like that we do this first one independently, because I don't know if we have groups already. So maybe we might have, but I would like to get this independently.
Okay.
And I will type the email in the chat box for submission. Yeah. I'll put the email.
Just put it back quickly.
The email?
Yes, please.
Okay, let me type it again. Can you see it?
Oh, hi.
Yeah, we get it.
Okay.
Patrice at mail.region.edu.
Yeah, we get it.
Okay, thank you.
.et.
So thank you so much, and have a good evening. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prof.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Bye.
very much.
Thank you.